Hello. Today we're looking forward to our topic for the next week, which is the educational experiences of freed slaves during the Reconstruction period by looking backwards at the events that preceded the Civil War. Let's have some real talk about what the phrase "except in the South" means in the context of education. Taken simply, except in the South implies that education was considered a right of the people, but not in the South. As we know, the colonies of New England started with community education as far back as the late 1600s. They had the old Deluder-Satan Act that established clear guidelines for how a community would have a school. That didn't happen in the South. Now, there were lots of reasons for that. Some related to climate, some related to the real reason that people colonized the states in the South, or at the time the territories in the South, many of which were paid for by commercial enterprise, whereas the colonies of New England, in a number of cases, really were there seeking their own religious freedom. So there are some differences there, but let's get down to the real reason or the real issues this created. Speaking truthfully and candidly, the Old South was continuing the oppression of enslaved peoples and people of color well before the American Revolution. Not only were they enslaved, but they were aggressively removing the ability for these people to be educated. The first anti-slavery laws in the South came into being in 1740 following the Stono Rebellion in South Carolina. You can see here a placard that covers the Stono Revolution, what it was about, what occurred there. So I'm not going to go into the details of that event, but I'm going to say that other states, other slave states, followed suit after similar events in their own areas. For example, Nat Turner's 1831 rebellion in Virginia. We see a depiction of that here. It really intended to strike fear into the hearts of other whites in the area, and that really was the driver for these laws. The stated intent of these anti-literacy laws was the prevention of uprisings amongst enslaved people. Sadly, the results were much broader than that stated intent. Not only did the rights of enslaved, well, I guess they're enslaved, so rights is a questionable term. Not only did enslaved people lose the ability to be educated legally, but free people of color also in most cases lost that right. Virginia is a terrific example of that. And also poor whites. So whites that weren't landowners in many cases also lost their ability to be educated under these same laws. And so here again we have a case of except in the South. Unfortunately, as we'll cover more in depth next week, the changes that came during Reconstruction would result in significant improvement in the educational opportunity for freed peoples as a result of the Civil War, but they came with them the cost of the separate but equal doctrine that would last all the way until 1954. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.